What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and it's time for some post-commentary action. I'm going to take you through a game that I played versus Hell's Ravage. This is post-Norse nerf. So if you guys are wondering how it feels to play the Norse now that they have a little bit less gather rate, take a look at this, 0.9 on the food gather rate over there. Dwarf at 0.98 gold a second. And on the wood, it's going to be 0.9 as well. This game, as I said, I play versus Hell's Ravage. He's playing Gaia. I got to be straight up and say Hell's is fairly new to Gaia. So take whatever he does in this game with a grain of salt. However, he is an incredibly high-level player, which does mean that things like macro and decision-making and micro, it has no relation to how well he knows Gaia. So a lot of this stuff you can take and you can, I don't know, you can say X about it regardless of whether or not it worked for him in this game. There's going to be a lot to take from this. So I'm going to take you through my my feelings, my thoughts, and exactly what this is going to mean for Norse players moving forward. So first things first, the gold gather rate, I could be wrong on this. I don't remember what it was before, but I think that it used to be above 0.1, but slightly. So now being below 0.1 slightly does mean you have to be a little bit careful on the gold mine. I'll show you a little trick that I do a little bit later to squeeze out a dwarf where you otherwise wouldn't normally be able to. But nonetheless, we're just going scouting in, trying to grab all the goats. I get a hefty amount, so happy days. Already we got this many. Generally when you're playing against Atlantean, they got 3 scouts early on. It can be very, very tricky to get a good amount of goats. So yeah, there's that going on. All right, so I made a little mistake here. I think I sent the 3rd villager over to gold, and I fixed it up quickly, but then instead of coming over to food, I put it onto wood. I don't actually think this matters. I do need the resources. You'll note that I didn't go for pickaxe in this game, which I think is arguably a mistake, but it's not going to be the biggest of issues, I don't think. It does allow me to get some extra buildings out, resources out, to put some early game pressure on or survive any early game pressure that the Gaia player decides they want to chuck onto me. But anyways, you'll notice here that I have managed to get this dwarf out on this point. What I did was I clicked on the gold mine and I waited for a specific amount of gold remaining in the gold mine, just as that villager was coming up, an equal number with a 0, right? That was the amount I needed to get to 60, and then I just force drop, build the dwarf, and you're able to get that dwarf out, and you can get yourself a nice 7 food, 4 gold, 3 gatherer here. Now, I mean, if you want to go for the early pickaxe, you will be able to. You won't need to do any force dropping on that early pickaxe, but you'll have to go for an extra villager or an extra gatherer, and that's not even a bad thing in this matchup, but still you'd have to do that. Okay, so I'm now scouting, getting all my information in, trying to figure out what's happening on this map. It is a 1 gold mine ghost lake, so my feelings here are I need to get units out to make sure that I can survive on the 2nd gold mine, make sure that my opponent doesn't do anything too cheeky in terms of getting their own 2nd town center and booming and things like that, while also securing a gold mine or being able to gather from said gold mine. I do spot this guy with the oracle here. It's this Tearfing Angantir's sword. Huge relic. For me, I love this relic as Loki because I will be wanting to make Hersa. It's fantastic if my opponent wants to make any myth units as well. Gives me even more ability to survive as another oracle over here. Unfortunately, I am not able to chase that one. I sort of mess up and I right click on it, and as it leaves the line of sight, the guy stops moving. You have to sort of attack move along the direction, and that's the secret there. And also, unfortunately, here we don't manage to get the oracle kill. One thing I could have done here is actually drop some walls around the tower to block the oracle in the tower. I've never tried that before, but I think it would be pretty naughty, pretty mean. But it could be a way to make my opponent have a little bit of problems there. But he does get the oracle back into his base. I'm not going to be able to stop that. And he's going to be dropping some barracks down. I got the spy on him, so I'm going to see him do this. and I'm ready to start getting some units out to defend. So we're getting our longhouse down. And at this point, I'm looking at my resources going, yeah, I really don't have that many. I mean, compared to playing as Odin, it's always, Loki's always feeling a little bit left out. But I have a lot of units out already. You can actually see the difference in military. I've got 1,000 more resources in terms of military at this point. And you can actually see at the top here and over on the left of the screen fairly shortly, my opponents are actually going for a fast heroic, which, to be honest, I haven't fought this in forever. Probably since Legacy. I don't think I've seen a Gaia player going like 1 talent center fast heroic since Legacy against my Loki. And I was like, I didn't even consider it. Like, I'm watching him and I'm like, okay, he's got no units here. What's he doing? What's he doing? I don't know. I don't really know what his plans are here. I mean, 1 barracks, no Murmillos. He could be hiding them behind here, and I'm just missing them pop out. He could be sitting over on this spot defending his hunt, and I just kind of missed it. He could have buildings back here. So I'm just wandering forward, trying to figure some things out. I do have my Eyes of the Forest now as well. I think. Wait, do I? I do have Eyes of the Forest. It's such an important technology. You'll see how much of this line of sight that I end up getting from this one just by being in this area, and I'll be able to see even more of his base. But yeah, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that I can get from this. I'm trying to take out the mana, which is obviously pretty helpful. I see there's 1 Murmillo and a Caladria, and I'm like, I'm still confused. I'm not going to lie. I don't think there's a heroic age coming in here. I see the double barracks up now. I'm like, he's got to have a bunch of units coming at me, and I just wanted to make sure I'm being safe. But realistically, this was just 1 Murmillo and a Caladria. I would have been able to kill that with the 4 Hersa and get some favor in. So I should not have ran. I should have stayed there and killed off the mana. But anyways, he hits the heroic age, and now I'm like, okay, well, if this is the case, he spent 800 plus 500 resources on the heroic age, which means you're not going to be able to have that on military. Should mean that if I stay classical age here, he's going to have a really tough time getting this gold mine. Or this gold mine. So I'm like, all right, let me just keep line of sight on everything here. If he wants to move out and drop a palace, I need to be there. So I'm just going to keep pumping units. I know he's going to go for Contarius, so I can start making some Herdmen. So it's a little bit of a late reaction from everything, but because it's Thea, I don't have much to worry about. What's he going to do? He's got the Dryads, he's got the Contarius, he's got all the other stuff. And like I said, he's spent 1,300 resources on a heroic age, which, while it does unlock some really powerful units for him, it doesn't give him any sort of significant boost, with the exception of a Stymphalian bird. And I'm thinking, okay, how can I kill the Stymphalian birds? Well, I have some favor here for trolls, and I'm like, okay, trolls seem like a good idea. They range, they get bonus damage versus myth unit. If I get enough trolls out, should be able to take out those Stymphalian birds. Take a look at this: 400 HP, 20 pierce, obviously 45% pierce armor there. If we take a look at my troll, he's got 50% pierce armor, 250 HP. So yeah, it's pretty close in terms of damage. It's pretty close in terms of, well, actually, is it? Well, let's have a look at the DPS. You got 33.3 DPS versus 12 DPS. So if I have a handful of those out, then I should be able to take those Stymphalian bursts down. One is not going to be enough. He's going to go for some raids here, but my villagers are relatively safe here, finishing up on the chickens. I'm just taking little looks over onto this side. Need to make sure that he's not on this gold mine. And I'll show you a little trick here that I did with Loki. This isn't even related to the economy. Just look at the difference here, though. I think the one thing you're going to have to do when playing as Norse is really ignore the score when playing against Atlantean. I'll talk about that maybe a little bit later, but this is a little trick here that I've kind of learned about playing as he decides to attack me. A little trick I've learned playing here is I can get vision of this gold mine by patrolling a wood line, or sending an ox cart up there, or just putting any type of unit onto that side. I'm going to sack my longhouse, wait for my Hersa to come back and my raiding cavalry. This army does not win my army, but you can see right now, he's actually caught up on military resource value. He's in the heroic age. He even donates a Gaia forest to me. That's very nice. Yeah, he's caught up in every single way. So the question here is my army going to be able to beat his army, as he does a little cheeky protection of his Dryads? I'm still trying to just snipe these and get as much value as I can. I'm still feeling like I'm in front in terms of... I'm feeling like I should be in front in terms of military right here. I also want to pop over here and just show off one thing. He hasn't gotten any of those economic upgrades. He's only got his baseline economic upgrades, so he doesn't even have those to have boosted his eco in front of me. So we're still pumping. I got 2 trolls with my troll upgrade. Now my trolls are doing I think they're still doing 12. What does this upgrade even do? Does this not give me any help? It's just it's only boosting the charged attack, so it doesn't actually even help me versus the Step Valiant Birds, because the trolls, they can't look up, so they don't know how to throw their big boulder up at the Step Valiant Birds there. Nonetheless, over onto this side, still pumping out units. I've like, okay, his Dryad, Contarius, Mamillo. If I get Hersa, Raiding Cavalry, Throwing Axeman, Herdman, just a little bit of everything, it should be pretty good for me, it's my guess. But he does make some Contarius heroes here. Snipes a troll. That's not ideal. I need around, I think I need around about, what is it, 3 trolls? Yeah, I need about 3 trolls per Stimfalian Bird here, and I've got 1 troll or 2 trolls for 2 Stimfalian Birds. These Stimfalian Birds will be beating my trolls here. So yeah, it's a little bit tough for us, but I still have Throwing Axeman, which can get some good damage done up onto the top. These guys have got low hack armor, and while the Throwing Axeman don't have a huge amount of hack damage, they will be a nice help. And he's starting to surround me, and we can see we're very close on military, but I am Loki, so I do have that bonus. So, but anyways, it's time to take a fight. My troll, unfortunately, goes down there. The Stimfalian Birds, I don't have much of anything there. I do get a very lucky cave troll over here as I immediately start targeting down the Stimfalian Bird. But you can see 1 troll versus 1 Stimfalian Bird. Yeah, that's not going to be it. And this fight goes exactly the way you would expect it to go, which is incredibly close. Considering I've been spamming units non-stop, he doesn't really have any bonus tech on me. Yeah, this is an incredibly close fight. I snipe a couple of Dryads, and yeah, we do come out what I would say equal on that trade. Effectively, he's got 2 Stimfalian Birds left and a Contarius. I got a handful of units left. The big advantage here from this fight as playing as Loki is I just got a bunch of favor and myth unit spawns, so I can make some more trolls in an effort to try and take out these Stimfalian Birds. He's also now up onto this side, and I mean, I can't realistically attack. I'm hoping for a myth unit spawn here. It would be absolutely gigantic, but unlucky for us, we don't get that one. Trying to build up with the other guy. Yeah, we don't get it. So nonetheless, I got to pull back. I got to move up into this spot and defend this gold mine. At this point now, my macro is not very good. I should be around about 800 resources further ahead in military, but I had some idle time on my gold mine, so we have to sort of sort that out. I do have the military infrastructure here to get everything out with the temple, longhouse, and great hall. So we kill off the carnivora there. But yeah, at this point, I'm just worried I'm going to get gold starved, so I need to set up on this spot. I also have yet to realize that the trolls are... I think 3 trolls is looking like a little bit better for us. But I also, in this game, I didn't realize that the charged range attack didn't work on the flying units. That's where the real damage... So I was like, okay, if I just throw 45 pierce damage at my opponent's Stimfalian Birds, then yeah, I'll be able to get some good damage down, right? I'll be able to kill them. But no, they don't fire up. But I didn't realize that. So realistically, the best way to use these is to attack the army with the boulder first, and then go after the Stimfalian Bird. I do also get a Draugr spawn there, so that's nice. And I do manage to take 1 Stimfalian Bird out. Yes, happy days. And we're going to keep making these trolls now as well, as we can hide on this position. He's going to try for a raid here, so I have to split up my army. Unfortunately for me, I've only got 4 herdmen here. So that's a bit unfortunate. I do have 47 food in this goat. I should probably eat that there. But nonetheless, we can come back and defend this. Luckily, he didn't come after my gatherers here. He's still searching for my villagers at the moment. But we'll be able to come over and defend it. And we are... I don't know. It feels like we're pretty competitive at the moment in terms of all these resources. So it is an interesting, like, I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Are you feeling like I'm I'm in a fair position, or am I behind, or what's going on? Like, what's your feelings? I mean, obviously the score here is saying what it's saying, and the more I think about it, I did a random cast the other day. Unfortunately, I can't upload it because I forgot to hit record, and the quality is really bad. If you want to watch it, you can go over to the past streams and watch it. I think it was the stream that I did on yesterday. No, the day before yesterday. And I turned the score off, and it was really tough to sort of tell how the game was going on. It was a really interesting game. It was AC versus Isomato, I believe. I'll put the link in the description below. Anyways, he charges in for another attack here, and this time, this is with the buffed up Arcus. All my units, not all my units actually, just the Berserks are a little bit weaker here. All of these Hersa are still quite strong against the Arcus. All the Thrown Axemen, they didn't really take any damage or hits to anything. And we do manage to actually break through all of this once the front line goes down. And while I manage to take out the army, yet again I'm left with this problem of how do I kill off these Stymphalian birds? So I kill all of these guys. I have one troll left, but that's not going to be enough here. And you can see it's not enough as he literally kills it off in 2 shots. And now I have to run off this gold mine. So while I'm surviving, I'm struggling to kill off these Stymphalian birds, which does raise the question, like, maybe the better call here was to just get Heroic Age instead of spamming units out, just so I can get Goaty out. But then again, there's another call here, which should be, why don't I just put a tower down somewhere and we're going to be good. But I do have the ability to run over onto this gold mine. The Stymphalian birds are slow. They have to fly all the way around. They could fly through my base, actually, but I've got watchtowers up now. And my plan now is, okay, I can't kill these bloody birds off. How can I kill them? Well, answer is going to be, I can just get myself up a watchtower. Watchtowers, the Stymphalian birds aren't going to be able to kill. So therefore, they will continuously take damage if they're on a position. So in hindsight, should have just put a tower up over here and got watchtowers. And that would have been a really nice way to play. Yeah, we're still pretty close in this game in terms of like everything here. Like close on villager count, close on military count. It's just we're behind in an age. So it's just like that's the big difference. I don't know if this is the same or different to the last patch. If some, like I said, I haven't really played against someone playing a fast heroic strategy as Gaia in forever, right? It just like very rarely happens. The only time you see it is off of like 2 town center type stuff, and even then it's kind of still rare. But nonetheless, the Contarius swinging through over here. I will drop my tower. I will turn and shank. Unfortunately, my villagers are unsure about what to do here, but they're gonna be fine as they get back on. I will get a huge amount of kills here, and got to try and get. I got a nice unit in place here to get a little cheeky wall up, but I don't really get that sorted out. I do get some big damage done with my troll throw there, but he's gonna charge through, and now my tower will immediately start hitting the Stymphalian bird. So at the very least, by the end of this fight, it will have taken some damage here. As we take the fight, we are behind on military resource value here, but we do have a tower. And we do have some units in the tower that need to pop out and help out. But we've got a huge amount of trolls here, which can make a gigantic difference. And the Herdmen are really good versus those Contarius. As we charge forward and kill off one Stymphalian bird. And I finally remember that I have Healing Spring. And that's going to help us out with our army. I kill off his army yet again. So I think this is probably the first fight that I think I won fairly convincingly here in this game. So this is the first real advantage that I've come to gain here. One thing that did happen in this patch is that the raiding cavalry got a pretty significant buff versus ranged units. So it also got a pretty significant nerf versus melee units. So the Contarius are incredibly good versus the raiding cavalry here, which is something to keep in the back of your mind. And also, yeah, these guys are really good versus raiding cavalry, as I completely missed the citizen running this way. Sneaky Hells, he gets over onto the gold mine, and he's going to be able to come over and cause some problems for me. But nonetheless, it's time now to go to the heroic age. After you get an advantage, you take that advantage and you run with it. And I can't stick around. If I stick around here and I try and snipe a villager at this point while going to the heroic age, these are sort of like the decisions that you really have to be pretty careful about is when you take a raid, when you actually decide to sack units to kill off villagers, you have to ask yourself the question, do I have enough time here to then sit back on the economic advantage that I gained from killing those villagers versus the loss of unit that I got from making that raid happen? And I decided that, yeah, trying to kill off a citizen there or two and lose all my raiding cavalry is just not going to be worth it. So we just run. But yeah, at this point, I managed to get heroic age in, a couple more buildings in, and unlike Gaia, Loki, and Norse, who get to the heroic age, they do get a significant boost when they get there because they get flaming weapons, which is a like help me now type god power rather than like a Hesperid's tree, which is kind of a just help me later type god power. And also the battle boar is nice and helpful. The Stiff Valiant Birds are obviously still really good here, but I will be able to have access to goatees, which are going to be a fantastic answer to the Stiff Valiant Birds. Plus I've got all these trolls, so it's really tough for him to actually run in. And I guess I'll show you one last little trick here as the army comes through. What you want to try and do when you're playing against good players with these trolls is you want to fake the troll throw so that he runs back, and then you run forward, and then you get even closer with the troll for a really big troll throw. Now he does dodge it. I kind of screw up. I should have attacked the middle of the army so that at least got him on the retreat. But nonetheless, we take the fight. I have to click flaming weapons here. I also get an iron respawn, which is huge. Unfortunately, my raiding cavalry can't get through onto those Arcus heroes there. And luckily for me, the flaming weapons comes in clutch, and I can actually break through this army. And I also get my heavy upgrades towards the end of the fight. That doesn't really help that much, and he has to pull back, and he does decide to tap out there after that fight. I'm not sure the game is actually over here. He's got a palace up on this spot. I'm not going to be able to push that, so he will be able to build out another army. And I don't have flaming weapons anymore, but I do have some favor to make some battle boards. He can potentially make some units, make an army out again, try and get some raids and pull himself in. He is in front on villages by a big way. But yeah, conclusion here is I think this is going to be a really, really tricky matchup for Norse to play. I mean, even in this situation here with Hell's playing a very off-meta strategy, it was very, very tricky. Like the 1300 resources for the heroic age, like you let me know if you think that's if that was a big spend, and yet he could still kind of continue. Take a look at the post game, look at the resources collected. I am very much behind this 1300 resources the entirety of the game, right? So the heroic age grab is totally fine, but also on the other hand, if you didn't go for that and you just went for an extra 1300 resources worth of military or upgrade, take a look at his actual upgrades here, and you can see he's got nearly full upgrades here. If you didn't go for the heroic age and just made units, would that be a really, really difficult thing to defend against? I don't really know the answer. I haven't played it yet, but super, super interesting time to be alive in Age of Mythology for the Norse players. I don't think it's going to be a simple game for them to play anymore at all. I think you got to be very, very careful with the fights you take. Obviously, that's the case. I think their army got better. I mean, with the raiding cavalry, realistically, the raiding cavalry is a unit that I want to be good against archers. I don't want it to be good against other stuff. So it taking a hit versus its counters, say like your hoplite type units, even your hippias type units. I think that like a Poseidon versus Odin type matchup here is going to be like a little bit tricky for the Odin player now, because the hippias are going to be doing so much better versus those raiding cavalry. We'll have to play a couple games to get a feel for it, but yeah, I feel like those strats are going to be somewhat challenging to beat as Odin against the Poseidon. But still, a very, very interesting game. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you hit the follow button, subscribe button, and all the other good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next game.